Nothing. Okay, just so you know, you're not the first person to come up with that. Barrett Wilbert Weed is not my girlfriend or my anything. Can we just like look at her face and like her voice and just...
We were so tiny, happy and shiny.
What do you mean shiny? What, like sweaty? Performative masculinity. Veronica Sawyer has terrible taste in men.
Linoleum aisles that I love to get lost in.
How big are the 7-Elevens you're going to? They're small. They're convenience stores. Have you been to a convenience store? This song and everything JD has is too damn high. They try really hard to humanize JD in the musical because, God forbid, a musical have characters that are unlikable, but watch for the movie. He's seriously the creepiest, worst person ever. Like James Spader, Robert California levels of creepy.
Eskimo, it's so, mysterious.
What if Depeche Mode wrote this musical? To be honest, I've only heard, one Depeche Mode song in my entire life, but it was good. Dead Girl Walking. Is that a thing wrong with this musical? No, it's one of my favorite songs, but half of these are actually just things I like about the musical. But you freaking jokers wouldn't click on a video that was everything right with Heathers. How do I know that? Because I have an everything wrong with and everything right with Hamilton, and I can tell you with certainty which has more views. In the movie, JD sneaks into her house, and in the musical, she sneaks into his house, which I guess gives her more agency as a female character, but also makes him less creepy. And it's just really important to me that JD be the worst person. Can we talk about the part where she's like, That's a good one. I like that part. Musical thinks it can get a laugh just from mentioning handjobs, which in a crowded theater, it can. But on a soundtrack, think again, mother trucker. They keep making fun of this teacher for wanting everyone to talk through it, but that's like a valid coping mechanism? I mean, the way she's going about it is questionable, maybe, but the idea is not bad. If you've ever been in high school when somebody died, like a student died, it's kind of exactly like this. It's really accurate. Everyone just wants to make it about themselves. Fun fact, for the school edition, which exists, there's a school edition of this show, they wrote a new song to substitute in for Blue that the authors liked better. Also, fun fact, it's okay to show teenagers murdering each other, which is a bad and not common thing for teenagers to do, but it's not okay to have teenagers talk about having sex or have it, which is a common thing for teenagers and people to do, which is good, or at least neutral, depending on who you're having sex with. Dead Gay Son is an ironic song because it's about acceptance, but it's actually just a string of non-coherent stereotypes. And it's not offensive, except to taste. It's just lazy. And I hate it because in the movie, not to compare everything to the movie, again and again, but it's just a one-off line from a character we don't see again. It's not a big moment, and then stretching one joke into an entire song just kills the joke. And they didn't do anything to add or develop to it. Okay, I take it back. The line about village people made me chuckle, but that is it. Veronica is still JD's girlfriend in this scene. Okay, real talk, I love 17 so much. Just the details that it goes into, the lines about the chili fries and bowling contrasted with the music. This is the spirit of Heathers that makes it so great. It's just teenagers trying to deal with being teenagers with the backdrop that they have also committed murder thrice now, but the dramatic context of her just wanting to get back to normal life after that is so compelling because there's so much at stake and it feels for the first time real, and the whole moment of the song is so wonderfully complemented by the music. This is the kind of moment that makes musical theater so freaking wonderful, and it's the first time during this soundtrack that I stopped writing things wrong and just listened, and that's a great feeling. Going back to songs that are just a string of stereotypes, Shine a Light.
Every day's a battlefield when pride's on the line.
This is a kind of bland, generic writing that does nothing for the audience or emotion. Detail is what provides connection. Detail is what makes your audience feel something. Detail is what makes 17 great, and yeah. Anyway, 17's a good song. Another good song, Lifeboat. Just a list of good songs. By the way, everybody and the acting side is just giving it everything. I don't really have anything to say about Kindergarten Boyfriend, except there's no reason for the belting note to be so high and on such a vile syllable. in, like, is probably one of the worst vowels to have to sing on. And that theme doesn't come up again, so they could have put the big high note on garden, because that would have been so much easier for a person to sing. But apparently, we don't care about our music being able to be sung by actors. Whatever, who cares about that? I mean, okay, from Yo Girl on to the rest of the musical, it's just straight fire, every song. Except for one thing, they say smell.
Smell how gangsta you are.
What does that mean? Smell how gangsta you are? The low brass on Meant to Be Yours is so good.
Then I found you, changed my heart.
There's a really nice contrast of serious lyrical sections and then kind of funny percussive sections. And that's like good musical writing 101.
I'm gonna count to 3. 1, 2.
JD can't count. Barrett Wilbert Weed is a goddess. It's actually my ringtone.
There's a school that self-destructed because that school was society.
JD, you're not as deep as you think. I do not care about your clean character resolution. Go blow up. Ryan McCartan is great. It's just JD. You can like the actor without liking the character. And one more thing before I get to my final point, which is an actual point. Where are these suicide notes supposed to be planted in order for them to be seen by anyone? How is anyone supposed to find out that Kurt and Ram are gay if they aren't killed? It makes sense from JD's perspective because he knows that they're going to be found dead with the suicide note. But Veronica doesn't. They have to depend on someone finding their naked bodies in the woods before they wake up. How would that have worked any other way but them being dead? And secondly, JD writes a suicide letter for the school that's blowing up. But where is he going to leave it? Or maybe he mails it to a local news station. That makes sense. Okay, sin reverted. So here's the thing, okay? Veronica has learned a lesson, but like no one else has. No one else has any idea what's happened with JD and Veronica and killing the Heathers, and to them, it's just been a really traumatic time where a bunch of crazy stuff happened. And especially with Heather Duke still being around. How is anything going to change? When Veronica says, "We were kind before, we could be kind once more," that's a nice thought, but it fails to really address anything. Okay, so you need to assess and resolve the problems at hand that are making everyone unkind, which comes from a variety of factors, which are economic, political, physiological, saying, let's all be nice to each other. It feels good to say and it sounds good, but it lacks nuance and perhaps more importantly, lacks an actionable way of doing so. It's something you say to make yourself feel and sound superior. And this is why all stories with the moral of just be nice to people fail, because that's so vague and it disappears from memory the moment it goes up against a situation in which being not nice would feel better. Without Veronica having addressed the root cause of unkindness, her wish for a better school will go nowhere. And that's something that none of the characters recognize. Not JD, not Veronica, and perhaps that in itself is truly everything wrong with Heathers.